Welcome to the deep dive. If you're listening to this, chances are you've got a successful career, things are going pretty well, but maybe you feel that crushing truth deep down, your income. It's kind of a treadmill.
Yeah, it stops the second you step off. Yeah.
Exactly. So today, we are going to crack open this. Well, it seems simple on the surface, but it's an utterly transformative concept. It really separates the folks who are just perpetually busy, trapped in that daily grind, from those who are like truly financially free.
That's right. And our main source material today, it's centered around Burke Hedges' classic, The Parable of the Pipeline. You might have heard of it.
Great book.
It really is. And the beauty of it is its simplicity. It uses this almost like an ancient fable format, doesn't it?
Yeah.
A story about water, hard work.
Yeah.
But it reveals this, well, frankly, brutal distinction between active linear income, the kind most people have, and automated residual income.
So the fundamental conflict we're really diving into today is this choice, right? Do you spend your whole life trading your precious time and your actual physical energy for money? Hauling those heavy buckets of water every single day.
Right, the grind.
Or do you dedicate some of that effort now to build a system, a pipeline, as the book calls it, something that delivers income, automatically, whether you're actually working or sleeping or hopefully enjoying your life?
And our mission here, specifically tailored for you listening, navigating the world in 2025, it's to move way beyond just the fable.
Right, not just the story.
Exactly. We're going to translate Pablo's original vision, the pipeline builder, into hard, actionable, modern blueprints. Because the sources we're looking at, they don't just give you theory, they provide the exact steps, the tools, and critically, the leverage people are using right now.
Leverage, that's the key word.
It really is. Ordinary people using this stuff to basically compress like a 50-year retirement plan into maybe a 5-year sprint. It's kind of mind-blowing.
Because the philosophy itself, build a pipeline, it sounds simple. But actually applying it in today's world, with all the tech and finance options, that's where the real magic happens. That's it. We need to understand not just what to build, but really how to build it, using all that exponential power from technology and, modern finance.
And what's really fascinating, I think, is how this book, written over 20 years ago, is still so incredibly relevant.
Yeah.
The core human psychology hasn't changed a bit. We're still tempted by that quick, immediate buck.
Oh, yeah. Instant gratification.
Totally. But the tools we have now to overcome that temptation, to build something truly lasting, they've become exponentially more powerful and often way cheaper to actually deploy.
Okay, let's unpack this then, starting with that simple, powerful story. The one that really changed how millions of people think about work and money and their whole lives. All right, so the story kicks off in this small Italian village way back when, and the big problem, no reliable water source. So the village elders, they hire these two ambitious young cousins, Pablo and Bruno.
Right.
Their job is basically to carry water from this distant lake back to the village cistern, and the key part, they're paid by the bucket.
And these two characters, Pablo and Bruno, they perfectly embody this core tension we see in financial life, right? Bruno, he's the big, strong one, muscular, focused entirely on the immediate earnings.
The hustle guy.
Exactly. He sees this as like a guaranteed path to wealth.
Yeah.
Steady money, clear rules. So what does he do? Grabs the biggest buckets he can find and he just hustles. Dawn till dusk. He's like the definition of a great employee, Works hard.
And that bucket carrier path, it pays off pretty quick for Bruno, doesn't it? He's thrilled. He's making good money right away.
Yeah, immediate results.
So he starts buying flashy clothes, upgrades his gear, gets a donkey, fancy leather saddles, so he can carry even more water, faster. He's living large, like right now. He's that guy, who's bragging about his overtime hours or the expensive car he just leased.
But here's the warning, and the source material is super clear on this. That path, it's a trap. It's built on this illusion of security. Bruno is trading his time, his physical health, directly for linear water if he wants $200.
Gotta work 8 hours.
Got to work 8 hours, simple math. But if he gets sick or injured,
Income goes to zero instantly.
instantly.
Yeah.
That job security, it's Hedges calls it the hire today, fire tomorrow world. His ability to earn is completely tied to his physical presence and effort.
Okay, so then there's Pablo, the other cousin. He's described as smaller, quieter, more thoughtful.
Yeah, the visionary.
And he hates the grind. He hates the sore back, the blisters. Right away, he's thinking, this system, this is unsustainable. So he comes up with this plan, pitches it to Bruno. He says, hey, let's spend our spare time building a permanent pipeline from the lake to the village.
And Bruno's reaction,
Yeah.
he's totally aghast. He laughs at Pablo, calls him crazy, basically.
Yeah.
Bruno's locked into the short-term thinking. He's like, if we stop carrying buckets, we stop getting paid. I need new shoes this week. We got to focus on bigger buckets, better buckets, not some, pie-in-the-sky dream project.
He sees it purely as risk.
Massive risk. Sacrificing the certainty of today's paycheck for some uncertain future reward?
And that right there, that's the definition of the pipeline builder's path, isn't it? It demands delayed gratification and, tremendous sacrifice up front.
Absolutely. So Pablo makes this tough choice. He agrees, okay, I'll keep carrying buckets during the day, got to pay the bills, but he dedicates his evenings, his weekends, to digging that pipeline.
And it's not easy digging either, right? The story mentions rocky soil.
Exactly. Brutal, slow, lonely work. While Bruno's out partying, Pablo's digging.
So naturally, his income drops a bit, right? He's tired during the day, maybe not carrying as many buckets.
Yeah, less efficient.
Yeah.
And he faces constant ridicule. The villagers, they see Bruno living it up, buying stuff, and they mock Pablo. Pablo the pipeline man, they call him.
Ouch.
They only see the immediate cost, the sweat, the lower earnings right now. They just can't see the future asset he's painstakingly creating.
But Pablo, he has the vision. He gets it. He understands he's building something, an asset, that will eventually provide water automatically.
Yeah.
And that asset, that's the key to financial freedom.
Bingo. The freedom to choose how he spends his time. He's not just earning a wage, he's building a legacy.
So fast forward a few years, the inevitable outcome plays out just as you'd expect. What happens to Bruno?
Well, it's kind of sad, really. Bruno's body starts breaking down from all that relentless physical labor. His back is shot, his joints ache, his efficiency just plummets.
Can't carry as many buckets.
Exactly. So he's forced to hire younger, cheaper guys to help him. But that just eats into his already shrinking pay. He ends up bitter, broke, totally dependent on finding, less strenuous work, which is hard to find. His buckets are rusty.
And Pablo.
Ah, Pablo. In stark contrast, one glorious day, his pipeline finally reaches the village cistern, and boom, water just gushes forth endlessly. 247.
Wow.
The village happily pays him for this constant, reliable flow of clean water.
And here's the critical difference, right? The money now pours in for Pablo, whether he's...
Awake, asleep, on vacation in Rome.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. The system works without him. And he didn't just stop there. He immediately saw the potential and expanded, built pipelines to neighboring villages, eventually 27 different locations.
Holy cow.
He created exponential generational wealth, all built on that initial vision, that initial sacrifice.
There's that moment in the story, too, isn't there? When Pablo comes back, all successful, in a nice carriage, and offers Bruno a job maintaining the pipeline.
Yeah, it's tragic. Bruno turns him down, says something like, I'm too old to change now. This bucket carrying, it's all I know. He couldn't make the mental shift. His whole identity was wrapped up in being a bucket carrier, not a system builder.
Wow. So the core lesson is just crystal clear. Pablo managed to completely decouple his income from his physical effort. He stopped trading time for money.
Exactly. And that leads to that famous quote from the source. While most people carry buckets, the rich build pipelines. And honestly, the rest of our deep dive today, it's all about showing you, the listener, how to finally drop that bucket and pick up the shovel, metaphorically speaking.
Okay, so let's yank this metaphor right into today, into 2025. We've maybe replaced the donkey with a slightly fancier car.
Right, or a bigger mortgage.
Yeah, exactly. And the leather saddles is now maybe a 401k plan, but fundamentally, aren't 99% of people today still doing exactly what Bruno did?
Oh, absolutely. The source material is pretty unsparing on this point. Most people today are trading 8, 10, 12 hours a day for a paycheck. And that paycheck stops the nanosecond they stop working.
Right.
They brag about pulling all-nighters or the big bonus they got. It's like they're polishing their buckets,
Yeah.
Bragging about overtime like it's some kind of badge of financial honor.
And those modern donkeys, the bigger house, the boat, the luxury car, they're mostly just liabilities, aren't they? They just force you onto a faster, more precarious treadmill.
Totally. You end up having to carry bigger, heavier buckets just to cover the payments, the upkeep, the debt load. It increases the pressure, not the freedom.
And the resistance to building pipelines. It sounds exactly the same as it was in that old Italian village. What are the modern Bruno dismissals we hear all the time?
Oh, they're everywhere. And they often sound like practical wisdom, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have time to start a side business. I already work 50 hours a week. Or investing in real estate. Way too risky right now.
Or the classic, My job's pretty secure, great benefits, I'm set until retirement.
Yeah, that W-2 security blanket. But those statements, they're really just psychological defense mechanisms, aren't they?
Oh.
They represent that deep fear of the invisible work, the initial dip in comfort, maybe the ridicule Pablo faced back in stage one. People cling to the immediate gratification, the certainty of that next paycheck. They believe that 40 years of linear income offers security.
When history, especially recent history, shows that kind of security is often just an illusion.
Exactly. Which brings us to this phrase. And if there's one thing to tattoo on your financial brain, it's this. Your pipelines are your lifelines.
Okay, your pipelines are your lifelines. That's powerful. It's not just a catchy quote then.
No, not at all. It's a mandate. It's a strategy for survival, for actual security, in what feels like an increasingly volatile world.
And this concept, it really hits home when you think about crises, right? When the storm hits, whether it's economic or medical, or maybe your company downsizes, that pipeline is the only thing keeping your head above water.
Precisely. Let's make this real. The source material gives us 3 incredibly powerful real-world examples of pipeline power during actual crises. These aren't hypotheticals.
Okay, let's hear them.
All right, first up, Mike. Picture of corporate success, right? Pulling in $180,000 a year, senior exec. Solid.
Living the dream, supposedly.
Right. Then, bam, March 2020. The pandemic hits. Mass layoffs sweep through his industry. Overnight, that huge income stream, gone. Poof. Panic, understandably, just engulfs his colleagues.
I can imagine total chaos.
But Mike had been quietly, diligently building his lifelines for about a decade. He wasn't just relying on that W-2 salary.
Okay, so what did he have?
He had 3 rental properties, generating about $4,800 a month in positive cash flow, and his dividend stock portfolio, that was kicking off another $1,200 a month. So total, $6,000 a month in residual income just flowing in automatically.
Wow. So even with the job gone, he still had $72,000 a year coming in passively.
Exactly. And here's the critical part. Mike didn't just survive. He stayed calm. He had zero pressure to jump at the first mediocre job offer that came along. In fact, get this, he used the widespread panic and the super low interest rates to his advantage. He bought 2 more houses that year.
No way. While everyone else was freaking out.
While his former colleagues were desperately filing for unemployment, his pipeline didn't just save him. It allowed him to see the crisis as an opportunity for expansion. Yeah, that's the power.
Okay, that's impressive. Example number 2.
Sarah, doing pretty well at a startup. But then, 2022, things get rocky. She faces a massive, like 40% salary cut.
Oof. For a typical Bruno, that's devastating. That means immediately cutting back, selling stuff, massive stress.
Right. But Sarah, she was another quiet pipeline builder. 5 years earlier, she'd started one of these faceless YouTube channels. Niche topic. Digital nomad retirement.
Yeah.
She used AI voiceovers, stock footage, low effort, consistent output.
Okay. And how was that doing?
That channel, completely passively at this point, was generating $6,200 a month in ad revenue and affiliate sales.
Get out. More than enough to cover the pay cut.
Way more. So that residual stream allowed her to basically walk into her boss's office and say, you know what, thanks, but no thanks. She quit, moved to Bali, lived comfortably there for 14 months while her old company was still figuring things out. The pipeline gave her options. Total freedom.
Incredible. Okay, third example. You said this one really defines the lifeline concept.
Yeah, this one's tough, but important. Karen, 52 years old. A neighbor mentioned in the source, she gets diagnosed with a serious form of cancer, and the treatment meant she was completely unable to work for 18 months.
Oh, man. That's the nightmare scenario. That's when the bucket carrier's world just completely collapses.
Yeah, totally. Savings drain instantly. Stress goes through the roof. But Karen, wisely, had stacked multiple smaller pipelines over the years. Nothing huge on its own, but together.
Okay, what did she have?
She had $2,900 a month coming in from 2 small rental properties. Another $1,100 a month flowing in from her dividend stocks. And get this, another $800 a month from a little library of Etsy printable digital downloads she'd created ages ago.
Wow. Printables. Okay, so what's the total?
Total residual income, $4,800 a month, coming in like clockwork.
That's almost $60,000 a year, passively.
Exactly. And that pipeline, that lifeline, allowed her to focus 100% on her treatment. Her medical bills were covered. She avoided that horrible stress. And importantly, the source notes the potential humiliation of having to ask friends and family for money via something like a GoFundMe campaign.
That is the point, isn't it? It's about dignity, too. Control.
It absolutely is. And that's the harsh, non-negotiable reality the parable teaches us brought into 2025. When the economy tanks or your body gives out or that pink slip lands on your desk, your 401k isn't liquid enough, your boss can't save you, your linear salary is gone. Only your pipelines, those automated systems you built when things were good, when you didn't think you needed them,
They roar to life.
they roar to life and basically say, don't worry, we got this.
So the central, maybe even chilling question for everyone listening has to be, if you had to stop working today, like right now for the next 6 months, who or what would pay your bills?
And if the honest answer is nobody, or my savings for a little while, then you're still carrying the bucket. And the imperative is clear, you got to start digging. Like, tonight,
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting, I think. Because the villagers mocked Pablo for his, his basic shovel and his muddy ditch. But what does digging actually look like today? In this crazy, high-speed, hyper-leveraged digital world we live in.
right, we're moving past the theory now. The source material lays out this huge menu of modern blueprints. It actually lists over 30 examples, which we've kind of categorized into 4 massive areas.
30 examples. Okay. And the core idea is still the same, right? A pipeline is just an asset that generates cash flow even when you're not actively working on it.
Precisely, an asset that works for you. And the cool thing is, you can start building one in almost any domain, often with zero or very little capital investment. Sometimes it's just leveraging your time smartly or using technology.
All right, let's break down these categories. Category A, money pipelines, traditional assets. This sounds like the classic stuff.
It is, but maybe with a twist. We're talking about acquiring tangible cash-flowing assets. Yes, maybe a single-family rental, but the sources push towards thinking bigger, or perhaps more niche, higher-yield stuff. Things like small mobile home parks, self-storage units.
Laundromats, car washes, those kinds of things.
Exactly. Assets that tend to be pretty recession-resistant and throw off consistent cash.
Oh.
But also included here, and this is fundamental, is the Dividend Aristocrat stock portfolio.
Okay, explain that a bit. Dividend aristocrats. Sounds fancy.
It just means solid blue-chip companies, think Coca-Cola, Procter & Gamble, that have a long history, like at least 25 consecutive years, of increasing their dividend payout to shareholders.
Okay, so it's about stability and predictable income growth.
That's the idea. This is where you invest consistently, maybe automatically buying a little bit more every paycheck, setting up that DRP we'll talk about later, until eventually the passive dividend income covers your basic living expenses.
Yes.
It's the slow, steady, foundational pipeline.
Gotcha. What else is in this category?
One more interesting one, private mortgage notes. This is a bit more advanced. Instead of buying a property yourself, you essentially act as the bank.
How does that work?
You might lend, say, $50,000 or $100,000 directly to an experienced real estate investor who needs funding for a deal. They pay you interest, typically at a pretty good rate, maybe 9% to 12%. So you're generating hundreds or thousands of dollars a month in pure interest income, secured by the property, but without the hassles of being a landlord. It's passive income.
Okay, interesting. That's category A. What's B?
Category B, digital product pipelines, create once, sell forever. Now this area, this is arguably the highest margin pipeline type out there. Why? Because your fulfillment and inventory costs are basically zero.
Right. You do the work up front, create the thing once.
And then the internet, the automation, sells it for you, potentially forever, with almost no ongoing effort.
Okay, so what kind of digital products are we talking about?
Highly specific, functional digital tools that solve a particular problem. Think Notion templates for organizing life or work. Or maybe Canva template bundles for social media managers or small businesses.
Yeah, I see those everywhere.
Exactly. Or things like Gumroad micro courses. These aren't massive months-long programs. They're super focused, maybe $27 or $47, teaching one specific skill, like how to master Excel pivot tables in an hour, or write killer sales emails. They sell automatically through platforms like Gumroad or Teachable.
Okay, what else?
Another hot one right now, AI prompt packs. As AI tools like ChatGPT or Midjourney get more popular, people realize getting great results depends on phrasing the prompt correctly.
Right, the input matters hugely.
So you curate collections of really effective, tested prompts for specific tasks, writing marketing copy, generating certain art styles, whatever.
Yeah.
You sell access to that curated knowledge, that specific phrasing that guarantees high-quality output. The buyer saves hours of painful trial and error.
And you collect the cash, residual income.
Precisely. And the source emphasizes the scale here. One single, well-marketed Canva template bundle It could potentially sell 10,000 times at $27 each. That's $270,000 in pure profit from one digital asset you created once. That's serious pipeline potential.
Okay, wow. Category C.
Category C is content automated pipelines. These leverage automation, scale, and platform algorithms, think YouTube, Amazon, Shopify, to generate passive ad revenue, royalties, or sales, often without touching any physical inventory.
Ah, okay. Like that faceless YouTube channel example with Sarah.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
a prime example. Faceless YouTube channels. You don't need to be on camera. You don't even need to use your own voice. You can leverage AI voiceovers, use stock footage libraries, maybe outsource script writing pretty cheaply.
To create videos on specific high-interest niches.
Right. Things like luxury watch reviews, historical facts, true crime summaries, animal behavior clips, stuff people search for. These channels, done right, can realistically generate anywhere from, say, $3,000 to even $50,000 a month in YouTube ad revenue within 18 months or so. And once they're set up, they can be almost 100% passive.
Okay, what else falls under content automated?
Things like print on demand, POD, using services like Teespring, Printify, or Merch by Amazon. You create a design, maybe a funny slogan for a t-shirt or a cool graphic for a mug. You upload it. The platform handles everything else, the printing, the shipping, the customer service, the inventory.
And you just collect a royalty on each sale.
Yep. Zero inventory risk, global reach. Similar concept with Amazon KDP Kindle Direct Publishing, specifically for low-content books.
Low content. Like what?
Think journals with nice covers, daily planners, logbooks, coloring books, notebooks, things that require minimal writing or design time up front. You format it once, upload it to KDP, and Amazon prints and ships it whenever someone orders it. Again, minimal creation time, zero inventory, global sales potential, passive income.
Gotcha. And the last category, B.
Category D is royalty pipelines. These are passive income streams based on creative assets you own, where you get paid every single time someone else uses or consumes that asset.
Okay.
Think about musicians submitting tracks to platforms like Epidemic Sound or Audio Jungle. They create a 2-minute instrumental track once. Every time a YouTuber, a filmmaker, or a business uses that track in their video or presentation, the musician gets paid a small royalty.
So that one piece of work can generate income for years.
Potentially decades, completely detached from their ongoing time or effort. Same logic applies to selling stock photography or video footage on platforms like Shutterstock or Adobe Stock. Create it once, get paid repeatedly. Or even writing a series of children's books. The back catalog keeps earning royalties long after you've moved on to the next project.
Okay, that's a huge range of options, from real estate notes to AI prompts to background music.
It really is. But let's pivot now from these broad categories to one super specific, actionable blueprint that basically anyone listening can start implementing tonight. It's a foundational pipeline, requires consistency more than capital.
All right, I'm ready. What is it?
We're calling it Pablo's 2025 Dividend Pipeline Blueprint. This is the conservative, rock-solid core of modern wealth building and the secret weapon. We call it the 4-day secret. It's all about turning small, almost unnoticeable, consistent effort into that unstoppable exponential growth we talked about.
Okay, the 4-day secret. I like the sound of that. What's the tool? What are we building this pipeline with?
The tool of choice here, recommended in the source, is the Schwab U.S. Dividend Equity ETF, ticker symbol, SCHD.
SCHD.
Yeah.
Okay, what is that exactly? An ETF.
Right. ETF stands for Exchange Traded Fund. Think of it like a basket of stocks that you can buy and sell just like a single stock. SCHD specifically holds a basket of about 100 large, stable U.S. companies that have strong history of paying dividends and growing them.
Like who?
Think big names, stable companies like Coca-Cola, Verizon, Home Depot, Texas Instruments. Companies known for solid cash flow. SCHD currently pays out a dividend yield of around 3.65%, and its internal fees, the expense ratio, are incredibly low, just 0.06%.
Yeah.
So almost all the return goes to you.
Okay, stable companies, decent dividend, low fees. Got it. So how do we build the pipeline with SCHD? Phase 1.
Phase 1 is the foundation. This is purely administrative, takes maybe an hour. Day 1. Open a brokerage account. Places like Vanguard, Fidelity, Charles Schwab itself. It's free to open an account online.
Easy enough. Day 2.
Fund it, start small. The blueprint suggests an initial $200. Use that $200 to buy your first shares of SCHD. At current prices, that's probably around 7 shares, maybe a bit less.
Okay, bought my first few shares. Now what? Day 3.
Day 3 is the absolute non-negotiable step. You must turn on DRP.
DRP. Like water.
Yeah, but it stands for Dividend Reinvestment Plan. This is leverage in action, even on a small scale. It tells your brokerage, every time SCHD pays me a dividend, don't send me the cash. automatically use that money, even if it's just a few cents or dollars, to buy more fractional shares of SCHD.
Ah, so the dividends themselves start buying more shares, which then generate more dividends.
Exactly. That's the compound engine starting immediately, frictionlessly, automatically. It's critical.
Okay, DRIP is on. Day 4.
Okay, 4.
Yeah.
Set up an automatic monthly investment. The blueprint starts with $200 a month. This is your commitment. This is your shovel hitting the dirt consistently. You link your bank account, and every month $200 automatically flows in and buys more SDHD. You now have a pipeline that starts digging itself automatically every 30 days. You don't even have to think about it.
All right, phase 1 done. Account open, funded, DRIP on, auto invest set. What's phase 2?
Phase 2 is digging. And this phase requires discipline and patience. It's basically the next 5 years or 60 months. You don't touch it. You don't try to time the market. You just let that automatic $200 investment keep flowing in month after month after month.
This is the part where Bruno would be laughing at us, right?
This is exactly where Bruno will ask. Because let's be honest about the initial growth projections.
Yeah.
They're brutal. In year 1, you've put in $200 to 200 by 12. Your dividends, maybe they total about $75 for the year, so you're generating like $6.30 a month passively.
$6 a month,
It seems
that's
like-
tiny,
right.
negligible.
It feels like nothing. It's invisible work. This is why 99% of people quit right here. The immediate reward is so small compared to the effort or the potential alternative uses of that $200. They think, this isn't working.
But you got to stick with it. What does it look like by year 5?
Okay, year 5. You've consistently invested $200 a month, so that's $12,000 total out of your pocket over 60 months. Now, assuming historical average returns and dividend growth, your portfolio might be worth around $14,000 or $15,000. And crucially, your monthly passive dividend income is now around $36 a month.
Okay, $36 a month is better than $6, but still not life-changing.
Not yet. But the weight is building. The snowball's getting bigger. You've survived the kill zone, and now you're ready for phase 3.
Phase 3. Turbocharge. Okay, how do we speed things up?
Once you've built that solid foundation, let's say you've hit maybe 500 shares, which would be roughly $35,000, $40,000 invested depending on price, you can start adding some boosters to accelerate the growth.
Okay, booster number 1.
The source suggests adding a bit more growth potential alongside SCHD's stability. A common strategy is the VTI plus QQQ combo. You adjust your new monthly contributions. Maybe you keep putting 70% into SCHD for that reliable dividend income, but the other 30% you split between VTI and QQQ.
VTI and QQQ, what are those?
VTI is the Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Fund ETF. It basically owns a tiny piece of almost every publicly traded company in the U.S. Broad market exposure, aiming for overall market growth. QQQ tracks the NASDAQ 100 index, heavily weighted towards big tech companies, aiming for higher growth, though potentially more volatile.
So adding VTI and QQQ is meant to boost the overall total return growth plus dividends of your portfolio.
Exactly. That combination has historically performed very well and can help you reach your ultimate income goal, say $1,000 a month in passive dividends, significantly faster than just SCHD alone.
Okay, makes sense. Add some growth engines. What's the second booster? You mentioned the 4-day secret earlier.
Right. This one is beautifully simple but powerful. The 4-day secret. Think about it. $4 a day. What does that cost?
It's a fancy coffee. Less than lunch out.
Exactly. It's $120 extra per month, $4 by 30 days. It's finding that small amount in your budget, maybe cutting one subscription, packing lunch twice a week, if you can add just that extra $120 to your automatic monthly investment. So now you're doing $320 instead of $200.
It makes a big difference.
It drastically changes the compounding math. According to the source's calculations, adding that $120 extra per month gets you to that target of $1,000 a month in passive dividends in just 4.1 years instead of the nearly 7 years it would take with only $200 a month.
Wow, almost 3 years faster just from finding $4 a day.
That's the power of consistency combined with even a small increase in the contribution amount, especially early on.
So this whole SCHD blueprint, it really proves that escaping that bucket-carrying grind isn't about needing a huge windfall or some secret stock tip, is it?
Not at all. It's about consistent, automated behavior. Setting up the system, phase 1, sticking with it to the slow start, phase 2, and then maybe adding some simple boosters, phase 3.
Yeah.
That $1,000 a month in reliable passive dividends, that's $12,000 a year, it's demonstrably achievable in under 5 years for many people just by leveraging this simple, automated system. It's a foundational lifeline.
Okay, let's circle back to Pablo's massive success. expanding to 27 villages, becoming incredibly wealthy. It wasn't just because he was a really, really good digger, right?
Clearly not. Bruno was the stronger digger initially.
Exactly. Pablo's exponential success came because he understood and masterfully applied leverage. Bruno was strong physically. Pablo was strong strategically. He used leverage. And leverage, that's the secret sauce. It's the rocket fuel that turns small, consistent effort into massive, explosive, exponential returns.
And Bruno used how much leverage?
Zero. Zilch. Nada. He relied purely on linear physical input. 1 hour of his effort equaled 1 unit of income. End of story. Whereas Pablo, even back then, somehow managed to use all 7 major forms of leverage that the source identifies. And if we want to compress that 50-year plan into a 5-year plan.
We absolutely must understand and deploy these 7 levers. They are the accelerators.
Okay, let's break them down. Lever number 1, the classic one.
1. Other people's time. OPT. This is fundamental. Pablo didn't dig all 27 pipelines himself. Eventually, he hired his neighbors, his former critics, to help dig and maintain them. He leveraged their time to expand his system.
Right. That's the basis of pretty much any successful business, isn't it? Employing others.
It is. And the modern application is vast and often incredibly affordable now. We're talking about hiring a virtual assistant, maybe in the Philippines or Latin America, for $4 or $5 an hour through platforms like onlinejobs.ph or Upwork. They can manage your customer service emails, update your website, run your social media.
While you sleep, potentially.
Exactly. Or maybe paying a skilled 15-year-old you find online $20 to edit 10 short YouTube videos or TikToks. You're leveraging, say, 100 hours of someone else's focus time each month to dramatically expand your pipeline's reach or efficiency while you focus on the high-level strategy, the next pipeline.
And you mentioned network leverage later, but OPT ties into that too.
Absolutely. The ultimate form of OPT is creating a system, maybe an affiliate program for your course, or a simple referral structure, and teaching 10, then 100, then 1,000 people how to profit by promoting your asset. Suddenly, you have this army working for you, generating income passively, leveraging their time for your pipeline.
Okay, OPT. Makes sense. Lever number 2. This one sounds a bit edgy.
2, other people's money.
Yeah.
OPM. Yep, this is where things get interesting and requires serious caution and discipline. Pablo, the story implies, likely borrowed money, maybe 50,000 lire to buy the better tools, the steel pipe needed to build faster and more efficiently. He then paid that loan back quickly from his increased pipeline income.
So OPM today means using debt. Strategically.
Using debt strategically to acquire cash-flowing assets, yes. A simple example the source gives is carefully using a 0% introductory interest credit card. You find a card offering 0% APR for, say, 18 months. You use that card, the bank's money, to buy a block of something like SCHD or another asset you expect to generate cash flow.
Okay, hold on. Using credit cards to buy stocks or other investments? That sounds incredibly risky. What if the market crashes right after you buy, or the asset doesn't perform? You're stuck with potentially high-interest debt that could totally wipe you out. Isn't that exactly the kind of risk Bruno would maybe rightly avoid?
That is the absolute critical risk, and you're right to flag it. Leverage cuts both ways. OPM is powerful but dangerous if misused. The sources stress 2 unbreakable rules here.
Okay, rule number 1.
Rule 1. Only ever use OPM for assets that you are highly confident will generate immediate positive cash flow that is greater than the required debt service, the minimum payment on the loan or card. The asset must pay for the debt and then some from day 1.
All right, immediate positive cash flow. Rule number 2.
Rule 2. You must have a clear, guaranteed exit plan for repaying the OPM before the favorable terms expire. If it's a 0% credit card, you either need to have the full amount saved up in cash, ready to pay it off before the 18 months are up, or the asset you purchased must be liquid enough, like SCHD, that you can definitely sell a portion to cover the debt principal without taking a catastrophic loss. No hope involved. Just a plan.
So discipline and planning are paramount. It's not free money.
Not even close. It requires calculation and risk management. Another classic OPM strategy mentioned is the BRRR method in real estate. This manages the risk quite well if done properly.
Okay, define BRRR again for us. It's an acronym.
Right. BRRR stands for Buy, Rehab, Rent, Refinance, Repeat.
Buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat.
You buy a distressed property below market value, using maybe short-term OPM, like hard money. You rehab it, fix it up, forcing appreciation. You rent it out to a good tenant, proving it generates income. Then comes the crucial step, refinance. You go to a traditional bank, show them the rehabbed income-producing property, and get a long-term mortgage based on its new, higher appraised value. This refinance ideally allows you to pull all of your initial capital and rehab costs back out, tax-free.
Ah, so you've replaced your temporary, maybe higher cost OPM or personal cash with long-term, lower cost bank debt.
Okay, you now own a cash-flowing rental property managed by the bank's money,
Right.
and you have your initial capital back in your pocket to go find the next deal and repeat the process. Done right, it's like an infinite cash-on-cash return machine, purely powered by strategic OPM. But again, requires skill and discipline.
Okay, OPM. Powerful, but handle with extreme care. Lever number 3.
3. Other people's audiences. OPA. This is huge today. Instead of spending years painstakingly building your own following, your own email list, your own audience, you strategically tap into existing networks where your ideal customers already congregate.
So how does that work in practice?
Well, in the digital age, it's critical. It could mean creating a really great product or service and then paying an influencer who already has 5 million followers in your niche, maybe $5,000, to genuinely recommend it to their audience. Yeah. Instant exposure to millions.
Right. Or leveraging algorithms.
Totally. Posting that one killer TikTok video that goes viral and reaches 4.7 million people organically in 72 hours, driving a flood of traffic to your digital product sales page. You didn't build that audience. TikTok's algorithm served it to you. You're borrowing the attention graph, the network effect built by the platform or the influencer. Collaborating with someone who has a big email list is another classic OPA play.
Gotcha. Okay, lever 4. This is the one you said really separates Pablo 1.0 from Pablo 2.0.
4. Technology leverage. Absolutely. Pablo's tech upgrade was moving from a leaky wooden bucket to maybe a wheelbarrow, then eventually to steel pipe. Huge improvement. But our tech leverage today, it's on a whole different planet. We move from manual labor straight to AI and automation.
So examples of tech leverage.
We now have AI tools like Jasper or ChatGPT that can help you research and write 30 high-quality SEO-optimized blog posts for your website in maybe 2 hours for pennies per article. That's feeding your content pipeline at superhuman speed.
Wow.
We have tools like Zapier or Make. These are like digital duct tape. They connect different software applications and automate entire business processes without any human intervention. Someone buys your course, Zapier automatically adds them to your email list, sends a welcome sequence, grants access, updates your spreadsheet, all while you're sleeping.
That's powerful automation.
And think back to that Canva template example, the one that sells 10,000 times for $270,000 profit. That is pure technology leverage. The effort to create the template is fixed, maybe takes 10 hours, but the technology allows for near infinite, zero-cost duplication and distribution. The sales happen automatically, 247 globally. Tech does the heavy lifting.
Okay. Tech leverage is huge. Lever number 5. This sounds important.
5. Compound leverage, the silent killer. This is the magic that happens over time. This is Pablo letting his pipeline profits work for him, generating more profits.
Albert Einstein allegedly called compound interest the 8th wonder of the world, right?
That's the quote often attributed to him. He who understands it, earns it. He who doesn't, pays it. Compounding is the engine that transforms that painful stage 1 growth into the explosive stage 4 wealth. That $200 a month we talked about, invested consistently in something averaging, say, 10-11% total return over decades. It doesn't just grow linearly, $200 plus $200 plus $200.
Yeah.
It grows exponentially.
Because the earnings start generating their own earnings.
Precisely. That small $200 monthly contribution over 20 years doesn't just become $48,000, $200 by 248. With compounding at historical stock market averages, it can become closer to $457,000. And if you let it run for 40 years, it can approach $3.2 million, not the $96,000 you actually put in.
Okay, that number was $32 million in the outline, which seems astronomically high for 200 months. Let's recheck that math or assumption. A quick compound interest calculation. 200 month for 40 years, 480 months. At 11% average annual return gives roughly $1.6 million. Still huge, but not $32 million. Maybe the outline assumed a higher return or additional contributions. Let's stick to the principle. It grows exponentially beyond the contributions.
You're right. Thanks for catching that. Let's adjust the principle as the key thing. $200 a month becomes significantly more than the sum of contributions, likely well over $1 million, perhaps $1.6 million as you calculated, maybe more depending on the exact return assumptions over 40 years. The point is, the growth becomes massive and exponential. The secret ingredient for compounding isn't genius, it's time. Uninterrupted time in the market.
Got it. Time is the key input. Okay, lever 6. You called this the nuclear option.
6. Network leverage. This is how Pablo eventually scaled to 27 villages. He didn't just hire people, OPT. He likely created a system where others could build their own pipelines, connected to his main one. perhaps paying him a royalty or fee. He duplicated his success through others.
So this is like modern network marketing or affiliate programs?
Exactly. It's the core engine behind successful network marketing companies and incredibly powerful affiliate systems online. You create a valuable product or system, say your online course on how to build niche websites. You then create an affiliate program where you teach 100 people how to effectively sell your course. You give them a generous commission, say 50%. But maybe you also build in a small override. You get, say, 5% of the sales generated by their referrals, the people they bring in. Now, if those 100 people each teach 10 more people, suddenly you have 1,000 people in your network, all promoting your course. You're earning not just from your direct efforts, but a small percentage from the efforts of a massive, growing network. That override income can become enormous, and it's generated entirely by the network you built, leveraging their time, audience, and effort.
That sounds like potentially explosive growth? Duplication?
It can be. Done ethically and with a genuinely valuable product, it's incredibly powerful leverage.
Okay. And finally, lever number 7. This is crucial, you said, for separating entrepreneurs from employees.
7. Tax leverage.
Yes.
This is huge and often completely overlooked by traditional bucket carriers. The government, through the tax code, actively reward pipeline builders, people who create assets, businesses, jobs, housing things that stimulate the economy.
Whereas the regular W-2 employee just sees their paycheck and taxes come right off the top.
Pretty much. Every dollar earned is taxed at their marginal rate. But the pipeline builder, the business owner, the investor, they structure things differently. They operate as a business. They have expenses they can deduct. And they benefit from specific incentives in the tax code designed for asset builders.
Like what kind of incentives?
Real estate depreciation is a classic example. Even if your rental property is physically appreciating in value and generating positive cash flow, the tax code allows you to legally claim it's depreciating, losing value on paper over time. This depreciation expense can often offset most or even all of your rental income.
So you could be collecting, say, $100,000 a year in actual cash flow from rentals.
But shows zero or even negative taxable income from those properties on your tax return, legally paying little or no tax on that passive income stream. That's tax leverage. The money is real, but the taxable income is minimized.
Wow. What else?
Utilizing specialized retirement accounts designed for the self-employed and small business owners. Things like a solo 401k or a SEP IRA. These aren't like regular IRAs or 401ks with low contribution limits.
How are they different?
For 2024-2025, depending on your income structure, these accounts can allow you to contribute and potentially deduct up to $69,000 per year, or even more with catch-up contributions if you're over 50. You can stuff massive amounts of your pipeline income into these tax-advantaged accounts, often investing it in the same things like SEHD or real estate within the account, allowing that capital to compound much, much faster because it's shielded from annual taxation.
So you're essentially deferring or potentially eliminating taxes on huge chunks of your investment growth.
Precisely. If you're building pipelines but not structuring your business and investments to take advantage of these legal tax strategies, you are willingly handing over a massive percentage of your future wealth to the tax man. It's leaving leverage on the table.
Okay, the bottom line here seems crystal clear. If you're only relying on your W-2 paycheck, you're using basically none of these 7 levers. If you're maybe using 1 or 2, you're just Bruno with slightly better tools, maybe better Wi-Fi.
That's a good way to put it. To realistically accelerate from that traditional, slow 50-year retirement plan to something resembling that explosive 5-year plan that Source talks about, you have to consciously, strategically layer multiple forms of leverage into your pipeline building efforts.
Yeah.
It's the only way. Let's drill down even deeper into that compound leverage, lever number 5. It's the engine, right? It's the magic that generates the long-term wealth. But it's so slow and invisible at the start that, as we said, 99% of people quit before it really takes off.
Yeah, that kill zone you mentioned.
Exactly. So to really internalize why sticking with it is crucial, we need to visualize the 4 distinct stages of exponential growth as laid out in the source.
Okay, stage 1. You called it the invisible years.
Right. Typically spans the first, let's say, 0 to 7 years of consistent investing. You're doing everything right. You're putting in your $200, maybe $500, maybe even $1,000 a month religiously.
Right.
By the end of year 7, maybe you've personally invested $16,800 if it's $200 a month. Your portfolio value, maybe it's only grown to like $20,000.
And the income, the dividends.
Tiny. Maybe $50, $60 a month. It feels completely insignificant. You look at the statement, you look at the effort, and you just feel kind of stupid. Like, I could have made more driving Uber on weekends. Or maybe just keeping the cash in a savings account feels safer.
And this is where almost everyone gives up.
This is the kill zone. 99% quit here. They abandon the pipeline project because they're looking for linear results. Put in X, I should get Y back quickly. But compounding delivers exponential results, and the exponent simply takes time to build momentum. You have to survive stage 1.
Okay, so if you push through stage 2, the snowball.
Right. This is roughly years 8 through 15. Now things start to get interesting. The portfolio value starts climbing much more noticeably. Maybe it's $74,000 or $100,000.
Yeah.
Your passive dividend income is now maybe $200, $300 a month. Still not enough to live on, but it's real money.
And you mentioned a critical shift happens around here.
Yes, the tipping point. Around year 9 or 10, depending on returns, let's say month 108 in the example, the dividends being reinvested, thanks to DRP, now automatically buy more new shares each month than your actual paycheck contributions do.
Ah, so the pipeline itself is now contributing more to its own growth than you are.
Exactly. The pipeline is truly beginning to dig itself. The snowball is rolling downhill, gathering mass and speed on its own. You start to feel the momentum.
Okay, that's motivating. Stage 3, the avalanche.
Now we're talking years 16 through 25. The growth really accelerates. Let's say you've personally invested maybe $60,000 total over that time, but thanks to compounding, your portfolio value might have exploded to nearly $500,000. The source used $457,000 in the example. Again, depends heavily on returns.
Wow. And the income.
Your passive dividend income might now be $1,400, $1,500 a month or more. And here's the amazing part. At this stage, you could technically stop adding any new money from your paycheck, and the pipeline would continue to grow exponentially on its own. It's generating more passive income than many people earn working full-time. The avalanche is thundering down the mountain.
Okay. And the final stage, stage 4, the legacy machine.
This is years 26 through 40 and beyond. Even if you stopped adding new money back in stage 3, the compounding effect continues to work its magic. The portfolio value spirals into the multi-millions. That $1.6 million or more we calculated earlier. That happens here. The passive income becomes substantial, potentially tens of thousands of dollars per month.
And this is where it becomes generational wealth.
Absolutely. This wealth can support you, your family, your causes long after you're gone. All built on the foundation of that stubborn decision not to quit back in stage 1, doing those painful, invisible years.
That's a powerful framework. Okay, now let's use that understanding of compounding to look at this. You called it the gut punch math, comparing the traditional 50-year plan with the leveraged 5-year plan.
Right. This really highlights the impact of applying leverage versus just relying on time and linear contributions.
So the 50-year plan, this is Bruno's route, basically, the safe path.
Yeah, the conventional wisdom path. You start investing at age 25. You diligently put aside a respectable $500 a month, every month. You rely solely on linear investment and the power of compounding over a long time horizon.
And the result?
At age 65, after 40 years of investing, you retire pretty comfortably. Your portfolio might be worth around $1.9 million, assuming historical averages, throwing off about $5,800 a month in dividend income. You made it. You're free at 65. But you spent 40 years, your prime earning and living years, mostly working linearly to get there.
Okay, comfortable, but it took a lifetime. Now contrast that with the 5-year plan. This is Pablo's leveraged route.
Exactly. Same person, starting at age 25. Same initial commitment, $500 a month out of their paycheck. But here's the difference. They don't just rely on linear contributions. They strategically, aggressively layer on those 7 leverages we talked about, especially OPM, other people's money, and technology leverage.
Yeah. What did they do differently?
They might start by finding a way to strategically leverage, say, $50,000 of OPM, maybe through that BRRRR method, or a low-interest business loan, or even carefully managed 0% credit. They use that OPM to acquire cash-flowing assets quickly. They don't just build one pipeline, like dividends. They start stacking multiple pipelines simultaneously, maybe dividends, plus a small rental property, plus an online business using tech leverage, maybe dabbling in some higher risk-reward areas like crypto nodes we'll discuss later. And they reinvest everything aggressively, letting compounding work on a much larger capital base from day one.
Okay, so same $500 a month personal contribution, but amplified massively by leverage from the start. What's the result after just 5 years?
The result, according to the source's illustrative example, and yeah, it sounds almost unbelievable, is staggering. After just 5 years, this individual is now age 30. Their calculated net worth has exploded to $7.4 million, and their combined pipelines are generating $94,000 a month in residual income.
Wait, $94,000 a month at age 30 compared to $5,800 a month at age 65.
That's the gut punch. The difference isn't the personal effort. 500 a month was the same. The difference is the strategic, calculated, and yes, potentially higher risk application of leverage. One person waited 40 years for a comfortable retirement. The other engineered massive wealth and freedom in just 5 years by actively using the tools available.
That's a profound difference.
Okay.
Let's make that OPM part more concrete. You mentioned the Plan Beach pipeline concept, using OPM to get passive income flowing quickly, like in 1836 months.
Yeah. Plan Beach is just a catchy name for using strategically acquired debt,
Right.
OPM, to create enough passive income pipelines fast enough that you can essentially choose to retire or work optionally, maybe from a beach, much sooner than traditional timelines allow. It requires careful execution.
Give us an example, the Airbnb pipeline using OPM.
Okay. Let's say you want to start an Airbnb rental arbitrage business.
Yeah.
But you need capital for furniture, deposits, maybe minor renovations, photography, branding. You don't have $50K sitting around.
Okay.
So you find a way to access $50,000 in OPM. Maybe it's a AUOC, home equity line of credit if you own a home. Maybe it's a business line of credit, or even, if eligible and careful, funds from something like an EIDL loan, economic intra-disaster loan, which sometimes offered very favorable long-term rates. The source matters less than the terms and your repayment plan.
Got the $50K OPM. Now what?
You deploy it strategically. You furnish and set up your Airbnb property in a high-demand area. The example used Phoenix. You hire a good property manager if needed. After all your operating expenses, rent to the owner, if arbitrage, management fees, cleaning, utilities, supplies, and importantly, the monthly payment on that $50K loan, let's say the property consistently nets you a profit of $2,900 per month.
Okay, $2,900 positive cash flow after all expenses, including the debt service.
Crucially, yes. So now you take that $2,900 monthly profit and aggressively pay down the initial $50,000 loan. How long does that take? $50,000 divided by $2,900. It's about 17 months.
So in less than a year and a half, the debt is completely gone.
Exactly. And from month 18 onwards, that $2,900 per month is pure, unencumbered profit flowing into your pocket, potentially forever, as long as the rental performs. You've created a $34,800 annual passive income stream, having invested essentially zero of your own personal cash long term. The OPM was just temporary seed capital. That's Plan Beach in action.
Okay, that makes sense. What about the other example, the SCHD nuclear pipeline? That sounds intense.
Yeah, it's just using the same OPM principle, but applying it to dividend stocks like SCHD for rapid accumulation.
How does that work?
Again, you strategically acquire $50,000 of OPM, ideally at 0% interest, for a set period, let's say an 18-month 0% intro APR credit card offer. Again, handled with extreme care and planning. You immediately take that $50K and buy shares of SCHD. At current prices, maybe that's around 4,750 shares.
Okay, so you now own a big chunk of SCHD, bought with the bank's money.
Right. And those shares start paying you dividends immediately.
Right.
Let's say over the 18 months, the dividends accumulate, and maybe the share price appreciates slightly, or maybe it doesn't. That's a risk. Right before that 0% interest period expires and the rate jumps up.
You need to pay back the 50K.
Exactly. So you sell just enough shares to generate the $50,000 cash needed to pay off the credit card balance completely. Maybe you need to sell around 400 shares to do that, depending on the price at the time.
Okay, loan repaid, zero debt. But what are you left with?
You're left with the remaining shares, 1,350 shares, in this example, 1,750,400, completely free and clear. And those 1,350 shares will continue to generate passive dividend income for you, potentially around $1,500 a month, $18,000 a year forever.
Wow. So again, you engineered a significant passive income stream using temporary OPM with zero of your own long-term capital invested.
That's the nuclear part. It's using leverage aggressively to acquire income-producing assets much faster than saving up linearly would allow, but it absolutely requires that disciplined exit strategy to pay back the OPM before the turns turn unfavorable. It's not for everyone, but it demonstrates the sheer power of combining OPM with cash-flowing assets.
All right, so we've journeyed from the simple parable of Pablo and his shovel through modern blueprints like dividends and digital products. We've dissected the 7 critical levers of acceleration. Now we need to look at what the sources project as, like the most aggressive, the most cutting edge, the fastest moving modern pipeline strategy available today. They call it the parable of Pablo 2.0.
Exactly. Remember, the original Pablo, even with his vision, it took him years, maybe decades, of hard physical labor to achieve significant wealth. Pablo 2.0, the modern equivalent described in the sources, they achieve massive, potentially multi-million-dollar wealth, maybe by age 27, 28. It's a radical acceleration.
And how is that possible? What drives that insane speed?
It's achieved through something the sources call e-compounding. Think of it as this potent fusion, this stacking of four highly specialized layers of modern leverage, all working together simultaneously.
E-compounding. Okay, break down these 4 layers for us. Layer 1.
So layer one is electricity leverage, primarily accessed via depend nodes.
Whoa, okay, depend. Sounds techie. Explain that.
Yeah, it's definitely on the cutting edge, but the concept is becoming more accessible. Depend stands for decentralized physical infrastructure networks.
Okay. Still sounds complicated.
Think of it this way. You have physical resources in your home or business that are often underutilized. Your internet bandwidth, for example. You pay for a certain speed, but you're rarely using all of it, right?
Right, yeah. Most of the time it's just sitting idle.
Exactly. Dividends allows you to turn those unused physical resources into actual earning assets. You connect a small, usually low-cost specialized device, a node, to your network. That node contributes your unused resource, like bandwidth or storage space or compute power, to a decentralized network that needs it. And in return,
You get paid?
you get paid, typically in cryptocurrency tokens specific to that network. The device essentially becomes your pipeline, and the electricity powering it does the digging 24/7.
Okay, give me an example of one of these devices.
The source highlights a couple. One is the Grass node, currently, can be run just as software in your computer, or they mention a potential upcoming $29 USB stick. Grass lets you securely share your unused internet bandwidth with vetted AI companies who need it for training models. They pay for the bandwidth and you earn Grass points, which are expected to convert to crypto tokens daily.
And how much can that earn?
Early estimates in the source suggest anywhere from $18 to maybe $43 a month per device connection, completely passively, just for sharing bandwidth you weren't using anyway. Another example is a Helium 5G hotspot. This is a slightly more expensive device, but it helps build out a decentralized 5G network. By providing coverage, the owner earns HNT crypto tokens, potentially $80 to $450 a month, depending on location and network usage.
So you literally plug in a device, connect it to your internet, and it starts earning crypto passively by leveraging electricity and unused resources.
That's the core idea of Layer 1, turning idle resources into automated income streams via depend.
Okay, layer 1, electricity leverage via depend. What's layer 2?
Layer 2 is compounding, but compounding on steroids. This takes the crypto tokens you're earning daily from your depend nodes and immediately puts them to work earning more crypto through a process called staking, often at extremely high annual percentage yields, APYs.
Okay, staking. We need to define that clearly. It's not like staking a claim, right?
No. Think of crypto staking as being kind of analogous to putting your money into a high-yield savings account or maybe a certificate of deposit, CD, in traditional finance. You lock up your crypto tokens for a period to help secure and operate the underlying blockchain network. In return for providing that service and security, the network rewards you with more tokens.
So it's like earning interest, but typically at much higher rates.
Potentially much higher rates. While a high-yield savings account might offer 4 or 5% APY right now, certain crypto staking opportunities, especially in newer or riskier ecosystems, can offer APYs mentioned in the source like 20%, 50%, even hitting figures like 68% APY for staking specific points or tokens related to projects on networks like Solana.
68% APY, compared to maybe 3-4% for SCHD dividends?
Exactly. Now, it comes with significantly higher risk, volatility, and technical complexity than SCHD. Let's be very clear about that. But purely from a compounding perspective, it's like strapping a rocket engine to your earnings. The source calculates that this kind of high APY staking can potentially compound your node earnings maybe 60 times faster than traditional dividend reinvestment.
So your $1,000 a month in crypto earnings from the nodes, if staked at these high APYs, could theoretically start generating hundreds more dollars per month relatively quickly without you adding any new nodes.
That's the principle of Layer 2. The asset starts multiplying itself aggressively through automated high-yield staking, dramatically accelerating the compounding effect.
Okay, layer 1, earn crypto passively with depend. Layer 2, compound that crypto rapidly with high APY staking. What's layer 3?
Layer 3 brings in the people leverage using the affiliate override, that network nuclear bomb we discussed earlier. This is what creates the potential for truly exponential income growth beyond just your own nodes and staking.
How does that apply to depend?
Most of these new deepen projects, because they need to grow their networks quickly, have incredibly generous built-in affiliate or referral programs. The Grass example is potent here.
Okay, what's their program?
Grass offers a multi-tier referral system. You get a unique referral link. When someone signs up using your link and starts running their own grass node, you earn a commission, typically 20% on all the points they earn. Forever.
20% of their earnings. Passively.
Yes, and it often goes deeper. You might earn 10% on the earnings of the people they refer, Tier 2, and maybe 5% on Tier 3. This is pure network leverage built into the system.
So how does that scale?
You create one effective piece of content, maybe a simple TikTok video, a tweet, a blog post explaining how you're earning passive income with grass. You include your referral link. Let's say that one piece of content goes semi-viral and gets you 4,200 referrals over time, which sounds like a lot, but is achievable with viral content.
Oh, 4,200 people signed up through you.
Now, if each of those 4,200 people is earning, say, $30 worth of points a month from their own node, you're earning a 20% override on all of that. That's 0.20, 4,200, $30, which calculates out to potentially over $25,000 a month in override income. The source projected even higher, maybe 53K or 100K a month if you factor in multi-tier referrals and assume higher average earnings per node.
Whoa. And that income is completely decoupled from your own node's earnings or your own staking.
Completely. It relies entirely on duplication, other people's time, other people's electricity in this case, scaled through network leverage. You built the first small pipe, your node, and your referral link.
Yeah.
Your network effectively built the other 4,200 pipes that feed your override income.
That's mind-bending potential. Okay, layer 4, this makes it truly passive.
Layer 4 is AI automation. This is what ties it all together and turns the system into something that requires minimal ongoing effort from the builder.
How do you use AI here?
Two main ways. First, use AI content generation tools like ChatGPT, Jasper, Claude to quickly and easily create more effective referral content. Generate ideas for TikTok scripts, write tweets, draft blog posts explaining the Dnyan project, and subtly including your link. AI helps you feed the network leverage engine, layer 3, more efficiently.
Okay, using AI for marketing the referral link. What's the second way?
Using automation tools like Zapier or custom scripts to manage the earnings and staking process, layer 2, automatically. You could potentially set up an automation that monitors your crypto wallet for incoming Dnyan earnings, and as soon as they arrive, it automatically sends them to the staking platform and stakes them for you.
So you're not even manually logging into stake every day or week.
Ideally, no. The system would automatically compound your earnings for you. So the only real work required from the builder might be spending 15 minutes a day using AI to generate some new content ideas and then hitting post on social media, potentially while sitting on that beach from the planned beach concept.
So this whole 4-layer e-compounding strategy, Dnyan nodes earning crypto, high APY staking, multiplying it, network leverage scaling it through referrals, and AI automating the content and staking. It's designed to move incredibly fast.
That's the idea. From potentially a $0 or $29 starting cost for the initial node software, the source projects that this layered strategy could realistically scale to generating $100,000 a month or more in override income within maybe 12-24 months. It demonstrates how modern tech exponentially accelerates Pablo's original parable.
Pablo 2.0 didn't just build one type of pipeline. He fused electricity, compounding, people, and AI into this ultimate pipeline.
It's presented as the ultimate expression of Burke Hedges' core philosophy, adapted for the technological realities of 2025. It proves, at least in theory and early examples, that the tools and strategies now exist to potentially compress that 50-year waiting game into a much shorter, albeit more intense, sprint. But crucially, it still requires facing that initial uncertainty, the learning curve, and the potential ridicule of stage 1. The tools change, the human element remains. #outro. So, when you boil it all down, this entire deep dive from looking at Pablo and Bruno and their buckets versus pipelines, all the way to the complexities of a $20 grass stick and e-compounding, it really comes down to one fundamental distinction, doesn't it?
Yeah. What's the core difference?
Bruno, the bucket carrier, focused purely on input, his labor, his physical time. How many hours can I work? How many buckets can I carry?
Right. Input focus.
Whereas Pablo, the pipeline builder, focused entirely on output. On the system. How can I construct an automated self-sustaining flow of value?
Right.
Focus was on the system, not just the effort.
And I guess the beauty, but also maybe the danger in 2025 is that the tools to build those systems, those pipelines, have never been cheaper or easier to access.
Never. It cost literally $0 to open that Vanguard account we talked about, and turn on DRIP for SCHD. It costs $0 to start a faceless YouTube channel and use free AI tools to help create scripts.
And potentially only $29 or even just software install to plug into that bleeding edge ultimate pipeline concept with a die may node like grass. The barrier to entry financially is incredibly low for many of
It
these.
really is. Which means the only thing truly separating you, the listener, right now from starting down Pablo's path is the decision. The decision to finally drop the bucket and pick up the shovel.
It's not about luck anymore or
Yeah.
needing some special talent or having huge startup capital.
Not for starting, no. It really boils down to commitment and that willingness, that grit to push through those painful, slow, invisible years of stage one when everyone else thinks you're crazy and the results seem non-existent.
So, we want to leave you with this final thought, something provocative maybe, to really internalize tonight as you think about your own financial future.
Picture yourself at 65. You're looking back on your life. Will you regret choosing the comfortable, the safe, the traditional 50-year plan, knowing that the blueprint, or at least the concepts, for a leveraged, accelerated 5-year plan were available to you back in 2025?
That's a heavy question.
It is. So the real question is, which of those 7 levers we discussed, OPT, OPM, technology, network leverage, e-compounding, even just simple automated dividend investing, which one will you decide to strategically activate tonight? Which small step will you take right now to start building your own lifeline?